Started here at the Speakers Lounge. What we're going to be talking about today is all about how do you create legacy wealth and building wealth which outlives you. Now, a lot of people that have come past our booth, one of the things that they've said is, well, it's kind of weird, when investing in wealth creation thing is at a mind, body, spirit festival. And one of the things that I've said to everybody about this is that what I found is that most people, now, that chip may need to be somewhere. Ali, this chip may need to be somewhere, mate, so I don't know. Just do whatever you're doing before you got here, it's fine. Yeah. And so one of the things that I say to a lot of people is that for most people when I meet, especially in spaces like this, they want to be able to give back to the world in a bigger way than what they're doing right now. Is that true for anybody here? Like, who wants to be able to give back to the world in a bigger way than what they're doing now? Right? Yeah, and so what I want to be able to create is that I want the resources in the hands of the people who actually give a shit about the planet and actually want to do something with it. Does that resonate with anyone? And when I say resources, we're not just talking about money resources, we're also talking about our time resources, we're talking about knowledge resources. And so the more wealth and the more freedom, more opportunity we can put in the hands of everyday people who actually want to give back to the planet, the better. So this topic, what we're going to be talking about today, is all about how do you create legacy wealth? How do you build wealth which outlives you? You know, here's one of the things I really do believe. I think that everybody should make as much money as you possibly can. Who's okay with that? Is everyone okay with making as much money as you possibly can? Yeah, you're in the right place. Handle home base being your life, then find something bigger than yourself to be able to give back to, right? That's something I fundamentally always believe. Now, those who I haven't met before or haven't been past the booth, Todd is my name. I've been in professional investor for the last 20 odd years. I've helped investors invest in well over $2 billion in deals to date, and I've done thousands of strategies over the years. I've authored a couple of books there. We've had a whole bunch of people have bought them at the booth we just got over here, and you're going to have the opportunity to be able to pick one up again today. And so this book is all about escaping the middle. Now let me tell you where escape the middle really came from. Who has had the experience in life where you kind of follow the general routine of life that we're taught? You know, you go to school, you study hard, you get a safe, secure job, you exchange time for money, buy a home with a fat mortgage on it, pay it off over 30 years, and then work for 40, 50 years of your life, and then maybe one day you can retire and live the good life. Has anyone been shown that default way of life? Who's been living that way of life and you've gotten to a point of going, this is bullshit, there's got to be a better way than this? Has anyone gotten to a point of that? Right, and I call it being stuck in the middle, where you get a middle level of earning, middle level of income, middle level of freedom, middle level of time, middle level of meaning. And who thinks life is about so much more than just working to pay the bills? Does anyone think that? Right, it's about so much more than that. We live in such a beautiful world and we want to be able to experience everything we possibly can, unlimited by how much money we earn. And this book was written to give you an escape plan out of it. Who's okay with having an escape plan out of being stuck in the middle on the rat race and all those other type of words? That's what it is all about. Been in a lot of media, been in a lot of different things. The reason I'm telling you this is that what I'm going to be sharing with you today and everything I teach, it's not theory. It's on the ground, real world action that I've created in my own life, and I've helped thousands of people over the years be able to create that as well. Now, I want to share with you a quick backstory around where my thoughts and some of my thoughts around legacy really came from. There is this incredible movie called The Ultimate Gift. Has anyone seen it before? It's actually really, a lot of people haven't. It's actually one of these hidden treasures. I think I'm the person promoting it throughout Australia at this point in time, right? I think it's an incredible book and it's an incredible movie. And this is what it's about. There's this guy called Red. This is Red right here. And so what he does is that he started from scratch, started from nothing and built billions in a fortune. Now when he was, but his kids were all spoiled brats, right? And so, but his grandson was someone he wanted to be able to have some connection with and be able to pass some of the lessons on that he's learned throughout a well-lived life. And so he goes and records these series of different videos and lessons that he wants to give to Jason, who is his grandson. And so he doesn't give Jason any money or nothing whatsoever until he passes all of these different lessons he's learned along the way. And the whole movie takes him through a journey of this spoiled brat Jason, then actually going through these lessons and coming out on the other side. And the lessons were about far more than just, hey, let's give you some money. Because that doesn't help a lot of people. Does that make sense? Like, who's heard of lotto winners who win millions and millions and millions of dollars And then in 3 to 5 years, they're back to where they started. Why is that? Why does that happen? Right, because they got some external resources being money, but their internal environment had not changed. And so then their external resources rewound to whatever the hell's going on inside. And this is why I fundamentally believe is that financial education should be one of the critical pieces of education in any type of education system, right? I fundamentally believe that, right? But who here was taught anything about finance, investing, creating financial freedom in any type of formal education system in any way, shape or form? Was anyone taught any of that? Because I know I certainly wasn't. My daughter, who's 14 right now, she's not being taught that, and the education system hasn't progressed in forever and a day, right? And so we want to make sure we get a financial education so that when we receive money, we know what to do with it and create wealth in our own life, create more freedom, create more opportunity, then give something back to them in a bigger way than what we're doing right now. Now, here's what I believe the end goal of creating a portfolio is all about, is this, and tell me if you agree. Build a sustainable, diversified portfolio of quality assets which deliver a consistent and reliable income stream into your bank account to fund the lifestyle you desire. Who wants a portfolio that gives that kind of outcome? Right, you'd be mad if you're not putting your hand up right now. Now, I know some of you are not going to put your hand up no matter what I ask today, and I'll get you by the end of it. It's all right. But this is the goal of building a portfolio, right? To fund the lifestyle you desire. Because there's a very big difference between being an investor. It's easy to become an investor. Just go buy a share, buy a bit of crypto, buy a property, rent it out, earn some dividends. Congratulations, you're an investor. Versus being an investor who actually creates financial freedom in their life. There is a very, very big difference to that. And the fundamental difference is your education and your strategy that you go and create with it. But I want to tell you that wealth creation is not about luck. The people who build wealth, that create wealth in their life, they don't get there because they were born under a lucky star or they had the right parents or anything like that, inherited millions of dollars. It's because they had the right system, right? And it's something that I learned early on. You know, before I got involved in the world of investing and wealth creation, I was a burnout personal trainer. I was getting up at 4 in the morning, going through to about 10 in the morning with clients, starting at about 2 or 3 in the afternoon, going through to about 7 or 8 at night in clients. And but my hours in the day did not stop when the number of clients I had in the day stopped. Does anyone run a business here? Anyone has a business? Right, what else do you have to do? Marketing, clients, admin, right, the bane of my existence. And so my day would wind up finishing by about midnight. I do that 6 days a week, and I do that 50 weeks of the year, because my whole rule of creating success in life was this: the harder I work, the more successful I'll become. Has anyone tried to apply that philosophy before in their life? Yeah, is anyone applying that philosophy right now, and you're grinding it out and there seems to be no end, right? And so that's what I followed. And so, now don't get me wrong, hard work is a good thing, but if it's your only strategy, where does it leave? Where does it leave you? Burnout. And that's where I was, a burnout personal trainer. Getting sick all the time, you know, go Todd, congratulations, beacon of health, getting sick all the time. I was training, I was playing judo for Australia at that point in time, wasn't recovering, wound up having leg surgery in both my legs, couldn't walk for months and months and months. Well done, personal trainer, can't walk, congratulations. My personal relationship was broken. And then at the end of a year, after working 17 hours a day, 50 weeks of the year, the one area where I thought it was supposed to be working for me based on how many hours I was putting in, being the balance of my bank account, well, I was broke there as well, right? And I got to a point of going, enough is enough. There has to be a better way than this. And that got me started in the world of investing and studying investing and wealth creation, successful people, to find the other pathway. And that's what I've spent the last 20 years teaching other people to do now. Now, one of the, when I think about financial freedom, I think I know there's different levels of financial freedom. A lot of people think of financial freedom as just the big, when I'm earning $1 million a year and I have houses here and I'm driving Ferraris there and all that type of stuff. Like, that's the illusion that we're taught along the way. But does it make sense that everyone's version of financial freedom is different? Does that make sense? Everyone's version is different. And I think there are steps to financial freedom. Step number 1 is all about covering your needs, which is fundamentally all about getting our most valuable asset that we all have back, which is what? Our time. It's our most valuable asset. So how can we build a portfolio that creates the income for us that can give us our time back so we're no longer just turning up to work to cover our basic needs? We then want to add choice on top, our wants, our dreams, living the dream lifestyle, and then it's all about legacy. What do you want to leave behind? And that's what we're going to be focusing on here. Now, when I think about legacy, I think about it in 4 different ways. Now, most people, when we think about legacy, what's the area most people talk about when it comes to legacy? It's usually, am I going to leave something for my kids? That's usually what it is. Am I going to leave something for my kids? And that's important, no doubt about it. But it goes far over and beyond that, for sure. Now, when I think about legacy, I think about 4 different aspects of legacy. One being your mission and your purpose, right? Who knows that they have a mission and purpose here on the planet? There's something that you're here to do. Who knows that and has tapped into it? Or even if you haven't, who feels that there's something there that you were here to do, but you haven't quite grabbed onto what that is yet? Is that true for anyone else here? Yeah, and it's really normal. Self-actualization. How can you live an extraordinary quality of life and your life be the greatest lesson? You know, what do they say about kids? It's not what you say, it's what you do consistently. That's what they learn along the way. 3rd is all about family, so leaving that intergenerational wealth. And 4 is the planet. What do you want to contribute and give back to the planet? We're going to talk through these step by step. And if you're willing to play the game and even take some notes along the way, you can even start mapping out some of yours along the way as we kind of move through this now. First things first is all about mission and purpose. Who will you impact and how will you impact? This is what I think about this. What is your purpose here on the planet? Who do you want to impact and how do you want to have that impact on them? So I have a question for you. Who here, how do I put this? Who here knows that there's something that they truly believe that they're here to have an impact on the planet? Like there's something you're here to do. Whether that's, when I say the planet, it doesn't have to be big and grandiose. It could just be very local. Like who's got something that they really want to make a difference in the planet on just because you lived here and you were here? Yeah, what is it? Do you know? Like, what is it?
I feel like that what I want to part is maybe I've come through the hardships. Now I'm turning around to serve others.
Yeah.
And I want to continue that mission and I want that to be my legacy, leaving that behind.
Love that.
So the way that I've come across hardship to get to that, learned those lessons and I think there's more to learn, but
always is.
Pass that knowledge as well.
Yeah, beautiful. And that answer was, sorry, what was your name?
Sonia.
Sonia. So Sonia's been through some hardships in life, like a lot of people have. Who's been through some shit in life? Has anyone been through some shit? Who learned some stuff from going through that shit in life? Did anyone learn a few things? Do you think some of those lessons are really valuable that could be passed down to other people that can help them avoiding that piece of shit in life? And they'll get other shit, it's fine, but like they avoid that piece of shit in life, right? It could be that level of impact, right? I know for me, through my experience, it was all about education. That's what it was for me.
Awareness is something, if you are not aware, how you would know? You need to be aware.
Right.
So, and awareness comes through experiences and learning.
Spot on. Awareness comes through experience and learning, right? And so for me, when I went through this myself, like to me, it was about education. After having that experience as that personal trainer, I knew this is education. I should have been bloody well taught. This is education. Everyone should have been taught. And so I made it my mission from that moment in time to go, this is the impact I'm here to have. Give people the financial education they should have been taught at school so they have the tools and resources to be able to live an incredible quality of life, unlimited by how much money you earn, and to get out of this financial slavery trap. That's what it was all about. Thank you for an answer. There's a copy of the book.
Thank you.
Now, the next is all about self-actualization. Let how you live matter. I want to share something with you. So, a few questions to ask yourself. What does a life well lived actually mean to you? Who's got some answers? What is a life, yeah?
You
Yep.
have lived your true potentials and something you're leaving behind, imparting your knowledge. When you're gone from this world, there's people you have passed on, make awareness, learning.
What I loved about that was fulfilling your true potential, right? Because when we can actually step into all that we are and we can actually fulfill our truest potential here on the planet, it actually puts us in a position where we can support others, right, in such a beautiful way as well. And I really do believe that is one of the things about legacy. Now, I want you to imagine that, please have a book. Yeah, one for you too, yeah. I want you to imagine that you've lived your life as your fullest expression. Start thinking about what are some of the lessons that you would want to have left behind. Just imagine that for a moment. You've lived your life to the fullest expression you possibly can. And you've got some lessons to pass on to your kids. You've got some lessons to pass on to the people you love and care about. Or you've got some lessons, that's a perfect pathway to walk past. And you've got some lessons to be able to go through and give back to other people. I want to share with you something where I had this experience in my life. This is Sir John Beals Chandler. This is my great-grandfather. I never met this man. He died well before I was born. In fact, he died when my mother was only 7 years old. I never met this man, but what I've learned from him is absolutely incredible. The lessons that have been passed down, the stories that my mother told about Sir John Beals Chandler have stuck with me to this day, and I'm now passing them down to my kids as well, right? So John Beals Chandler came out to Australia when he was only about 16 years old. My mother tells me about that. He was just 5'2", 5'3". I don't know how tall that is. 5'2", 5'3", with ginger hair. And to pay his way to come out to Australia, he went to work in the cane fields for 2 years. And so I learned about how much harder worker he was, and how that nothing was too much for him, that he would always just kind of step into it and just get the job done. And I learned that. I learned the value of hard work from this man. I never met him. I didn't know him. I learned that he started his first business when he was only 20 years old. So after he'd fulfilled those first 2 years of cutting cane to pay his fare to come over to Australia, he started his very first business, a little corner store. And from there, he actually started, does anyone remember Chandler's electrical stores? Does anyone remember Chandler's electrical stores? They're no longer around anymore. I don't know if anyone remembers them. But they were a big electrical store chain, and he started that across Australia, and also started an entire media empire. And I learned the lessons of entrepreneurship. I learned the lessons of when you see a need and you see an opportunity, how are you going to step into that? And how are you going to move past fear to step into what some of the things that could have scared you before? And I learned that. I learned that as he went through this, Sir John Beals Chandler started the Liberal National Party in Queensland, so that division. So he then decided to devote his entire life to service. So he was the Lord Mayor for 14 years throughout World War II. And so what I learned about this, apart from, he never took a dollar wage in his entire life, he gave it all back to the city. And I learned about the true meaning of service. I also knew that when he, in his house, he gave up his home in Brisbane for the soldiers coming home so they could recover. And so he devoted his entire life to giving back to philanthropy. Like, I always get tricked up in that word. Right? I even get emotional talking about it now, because what I learned from this man was something absolutely phenomenal. I never met him. What a legacy to be able to leave that I'm now passing down to my kids. And we all have those certain people in our life that we've learned some things, that they've had this extraordinary impact. Who's had some mentors in their life along the way? Like some people who they've just been had an extraordinary impact in your life, where there was this before this moment and there was an after this moment. Has anyone had those people in their life? I've had too many to count, and I can't thank them enough. Like, the gratitude I have for the people I've had in my life as mentors to me has been absolutely phenomenal. The third level of legacy is all about family, and this is all about intergenerational wealth. So when I think about it, like, impact is number one. What is the wisdom that you learn from a life well lived, a life where you're living to your fullest expression? Third is all about intergenerational wealth. What's the opportunity that you want to be able to give to you? Who's got kids? Has anyone got kids? Okay. Who doesn't have kids but you want to have kids? Right, okay, cool. So I have a 14-year-old daughter who thinks she's 21, which I'm struggling with. My next mentorship I need to get is raising teenage girls. That's an interesting experience. And then I have an 18-month-old son, right? So there's a nice big gap between our kids. I think about it with my kids, and so imagine when they're turning 20. What is it going to be like for them to be able to buy their own home? Does this concern anyone? Who's sitting there going, I don't care about the kids, I'm still worrying about how I'm going to find my own home? Does anyone it's expensive now, isn't it? Are property prices growing at a rate of knots far beyond how serviceability and income can keep up? I don't think it's going to get any better. All this talk that the government is, it's just words. The government is talking about, oh, affordable housing. Everything they're doing is going to inflate property prices all over again. Everything they're doing, right? I can guarantee it. There's going to be a massive move in the property market over the next few years as we see another few drops in the interest rate cycle, right? That's what's going to be happening, right? They almost guarantee it. But when you think about it, you go, I think about that next generation. I go, how are they going to buy a home? What is life going to be like? And it's going to be next to impossible. Property is going to be something that's passed down from generation to generation, and Australia will become a nation of renters. That's what will be happening. Now, you might be going, oh no, Australia, the great Australian dream. But that's just something that we've grown up with along the way. Does that make sense for everyone? Are there countries out there where people are born into a lifetime of renting? Yes or yes? Absolutely there is. They're born into a lifetime of renting. And all you have to do is look at the breadcrumbs which are being dropped in Australia right now with some of the policy changes and things like that, that we are moving towards that direction. Melbourne, unfortunately, is a bit of a testing ground for a lot of things, including this. So has anyone noticed in Melbourne that they've started to extend the timeline of leases? Originally, it was like 6 to 12 months was a normal lease. They're starting to extend lease timelines to 2 years, to 5 years, and talking about even 10-year type of leases. What they're also doing is that they're putting more hands in the power of tenants. Nothing wrong with that, but landlords cannot say no to someone having a pet in a property anymore. That's what's happening. They're making it more difficult for a landlord to be able to go, you know what, we're ending this lease and you're out. Sorry, you have to find somewhere else. So they're ending that. And so now a landlord has to actually show proof, show a case to go, hey, we're taking that property off the market or we're doing this. There are so many, and the build to rent is moving into Australia at a rate of knots. It makes up about 5% of the market right now. In the US and the UK, it's about 15 to 16%. Who knows what I'm talking about when I say build to rent? Okay, all right. So traditionally, property is developed where a developer builds it and then they sell it off to the market. That's not happening as much anymore. Instead, the developer is building it and then they are keeping it and renting it out, the entire development. And so some big superannuation funds are getting into this, BlackRock, like a whole lot of big funds are getting into this where they're building property only to rent it out now. What is that doing? It's taking supply off the market, so there's less opportunity for everyday people to be able to buy another property because we are not building much real estate at the moment, right? The undersupply in Australia is ridiculously high right now. During the whole COVID debacle, how many construction and building companies went out of business? Cost of materials went through the roof. Cost of tradespeople went through the roof. The cost of physically putting another piece of real estate on the ground has gone up so substantially now, it's not funny, right? And on the top of that, we've got record immigration has been going for years now, and it's still going to be very high. So we're increasing demand, we've got no supply, and the government's saying we're going to build 250,000 properties a year for the next 5 years. Does anyone know, has the government ever built, has Australia ever built 250,000 properties in a single year? Never happened, not once. The maximum was 236,000 properties, which happened pre-COVID, right? That was the first time it actually happened. But we're building about 160, 170,000 now, which means that we're falling behind 80,000 properties every single year just to keep up with the current demand. And there's no way it's going to be catching up anytime soon. So when I think about intergenerational wealth, I start to think about, well, what are the choices and the options that you want to be able to give to your kids? Do you want them to follow the same path, just into a work to exchange time for money, financial slavery trap? It's a modern day slavery, financial slavery. Do you want that? Or do you want to be able to give them the opportunity and the potential for them to be able to go follow their passion and follow their purpose rather than just doing something to pay the bills? Right? Does that resonate with anyone? But when we talk about this, remember, it's not just about giving them money. That doesn't do it. How are you going to give them the financial education? How are you going to teach them how to be a steward of wealth, someone that actually take money and know what to do with it? Because what happens? First generation makes it, second generation grows it, third generation blows it, right? That's what happens. The reason is that the first generation, they put the hard work in to go and grow it, and someone in a lineage, they've taken a stand and they've made the decision that I'm going to create something different in my life, right? And you need to make the decision that that's going to be you. If you haven't come from a family of wealth already, you need to make that decision for yourself. Your kids then see the hard work that goes into you have actually grown that. And so they actually get some of the same philosophies. The third generation gets born into a lifetime of wealth and money, and so they don't have the work ethic, they don't value finances, they don't value money, and so they just go and spend it and then they blow it. It's something that's been happening for millennia, right? That's what's been consistently happening. So, but you can't give what you don't have yourself. If you don't have financial education, how are you going to give it to somebody else? If you don't have the financial resources to pass on, how are you going to be able to give it to somebody else? Now, I want to be, to me personally, this is something I believe in fully. I don't want to be that dead guy in the grave that's still controlling my money from, in 100 years' time, just to piss my future kids and their kids and all that type of stuff off, right? I just find it funny. I don't know why. But I want to make sure that it's controlled, that this wealth that I'm generating now lasts for many, many generations ahead, right? And it's something that's really important for me that I'm creating, but I'm also teaching my kids, and I have been since my daughter was 3 years old, playing little games with money so money doesn't become something that's fearful. Money doesn't become something that's scary. Because for a lot of people, money is scary. Why? Why is it scary? We're not taught anything about it, right? And so what we don't understand, we tend to fear. What takes away fear? Education and experience. Does that make sense? But what a lot of people do is they avoid even taking the very first step, and they stay in the space of fear, and they don't take the step towards starting to invest. Because investing is how you're going to grow your wealth. It's how you get your money working harder for you so you can ultimately stop working hard for your money. That's what the game is all about. But you've got to be willing to take that first step. Now, does investing have to mean you go and put out hundreds of thousands of dollars in one deal straight off the bat? You could get started with $5 a week if you want to. Just get started. And as you take that first step forward, you put that first $5 in the market, then every week you put another $5, all of a sudden you are energetically telling your subconscious, unconscious mind and source universe that this is something that's important to you, not because of the money, but because of the choice it gives you. Money is just a tool, it's nothing else, it's just a tool. And as you start to do that, you start to become more comfortable with it. As you become more comfortable with it, your awareness starts to expand. An important word you said before, your awareness starts to expand. As your awareness starts to expand, you start learning some more things. And as you learn more things, you become more comfortable and you just kind of start stepping into it at a deeper level. Does that make sense for everybody? Right? And this is where, building that intergenerational wealth is something that's really important. It's really, really critical. Finally, it's all about contribution. How do you want to leave the world in a better place because you were here? One question that one of my good friends actually asked me this question, and it really took me aback. It really did. It put me into a place of thinking very, very deeply. And so the question was this: what breaks your heart about what is going on in the world right now? And I thought about that, and I sat with that question for days and days and days, just really thinking about that, because there were real things going on in the world right now which really did impact me. For me, I love nature, right? I actually grew up in the Solomon Islands, which is a little bit strange, a little bit weird. And, my earliest memories was seeing my parents walk off the beach and go diving in World War II wrecks in the Solomon Islands. And so I just fell in love with everything to do with underwater and above the water. And one of my greatest trips I've ever been on is a hiking trip with my dad in Chiseria National Park in Zimbabwe. Myself, my two brothers, just us and a guide and a camp boy went trekking through this national park, and we came across the carcasses of elephants, of poachers that had just cut their tusks out and left them to rot and die. We also came across a pride of lions that were hunting and doing stuff, and it was one of the most phenomenal trips to me. And some of those experiences for me really impacted what I think about and what upsets me about the world and how we're destroying the planet. So I'm very big on conservation. Right, and so one of my big targets is that, well, how can I put 1 million acres of land under protection in Africa and also in the Amazon? That's what feels really good to me. My wife loves animals. They're not animals, they're kids. See, who's got? I grew up on farms, right? So I had farm dogs. I met my wife, and she's got fur babies. Who's got fur babies? Some of you have fur. I know you do. Yeah. Some of you have fur babies. Some of you have like outside dogs, right? It's very, very different. So I had this culture clash of going dogs inside, dogs on beds, like spending more on a dog's grooming than on a human. I sit there and go, oh, this is a strange experience. But anyway, I've gotten used to it now, and they're my kids now too. And so she loves pets, she loves animals. So for her, it's all about building an animal foundation. Now she runs an organic cosmetics company, right? One of the only like true organic cosmetics company in the entire world, because she had the experience of growing up having bad skin. And the doctors kept prescribing all these horrible chemicals and injecting steroids into pimples and really like horrendous things. And so she then went and cleaned out all of her skincare out of all the chemicals and went organic, and everything changed. And then she started, but the makeup was still chemical based. And so she'd have this clean skincare regime, she'd put makeup on, but it was all chemical based, and it kept re-exaggerating the problem. Does that make sense? And so for her, that was one of her experiences and pains that she had in life, had an impact on her that then directed something that she's going to do. And, you know, she's growing a massive organic cosmetics company now, right? So I wonder for you, like, what is it that breaks your heart about what's going on in the world right now? Who's got something? Yeah. Human trafficking, absolutely. Like, look for you, my friend. Yeah.
Thanks.
Who else has any more? Homelessness, yeah, absolutely. I'll give one to you as well. Right, and we all have these things. We've all had these experiences that somewhere along the way in our lives, we've had this experience in life, and it's really impacted us at a level far deeper than surface. And that's often a good sign. You know, I once heard from my mentor that something called feather brick truck, right? When I was about 20, 21 years old. I truly do believe that the universe is always trying to give us signs. Does anyone else believe that? The universe is trying to give us signs. And when it's trying to give us a sign, what often happens is that it comes along with a little feather and it tickles us. They go, hey, you, just take notice of this. And we've all had feathers along the way in life. The question is, did we listen to the feather or did we not? Now, sometimes we don't listen to the feather, but guess what? The universe still wants to give us a lesson. So what does it do? It gets up a brick and it goes, hey, you, I told you to take notice, take this. What are some bricks? Getting sick all the time. Could be a brick of fighting with your partner all the time. It could be a brick where you turn up to work every day and you just go, oh, and it just feels depressing even walking into the place. It could be the constant struggle with money where you're living paycheck to paycheck and you've been doing it for years, if not decades, and you haven't done anything about it. And you know what? Sometimes we take notice of the bricks, but sometimes we don't. Universe still wants to give us a lesson. So what happens next? The truck comes, right? Who's been hit by a truck before? I have. Who's been hit by the same truck a couple of times and still haven't taken notice of it? I have. Yeah, sometimes it takes me a moment to kind of pick up on these lessons along the way. And the lesson of that is listen to the feathers. So you want to start thinking about what are the feathers that you've had in your life to date? And what is the lesson that it's trying to give you, that it's trying to unerringly lead you on the journey that you're supposed to be on in life? And I thought it was a really beautiful lesson. A mentor taught me that when I was 21 years old, and I've never forgotten it since. So if you start thinking about how do you want to give back? You know, I love this quote, Native American proverb. We do not inherit the earth from our ancestors, but we borrow from our children. Right? And what we do matters. What you do in your life matters. And some people think, well, it's just me. How can I have an impact? But all it takes is for one person to take a stand and to create some different meaning in life. And that could be, it doesn't have to be big and grandiose. It could just be for your family. It could just be for the people you love and you care about. Like, how can you be a better father or a better husband or a better wife or a better mother or a better daughter or a better son or a better friend or whatever it actually is? And how can you actually take a stand in your own relationships in life that you can be a better person and step into the fullest power of yourself, and then from that have an impact that you never know where that's going to go? Like, we talk about the ripple effect, right? Sometimes you take this action and you do this thing and you never know where it's going to go. You never know that one kind gesture, that one stand that you took instead of turning a blind eye, that one time you helped that person. You never know where that's going to go, right? And that is legacy. That is something that every single person has within their power to be able to do. Now, one thing I always think about when it comes to the whole wealth building and investing side of this, right? And I've said this before, right? Money is just a tool. It's just a thing. That's all it is, right? The good or the bad of it depends everything to do with you as an individual and what you choose to do with it. What I find is a lot of people get very resistant to money and that they have a lot of sabotage patterns because a lot of people have dirty minds about money. They have dirty minds about money, right? Who knows they've got a dirty mind about money? Has anyone got some dirty minds about money? You got, yeah, some of you have dirty minds about other things as well. That's totally fine, right? But a lot of you have dirty minds when it comes to money. Because what are some of the things we're taught about money as we're growing up? Money doesn't grow on. You got to have money too. Wealthy people are. Wonderful, that's a great answer, but that's not what most people think. They go, wealthy people are greedy, and we have all this bullshit that we're taught about money in our life, and it's absolute and utter crap. It is just a belief that we've inherited from somebody else, which is not yours. At some level, you've just chosen to take it on as your own. At some point during your life, often when you were younger and you're more impressionable. And what that means is that because you took it on from somebody else, you can choose at any point in time to be able to let it go. You can choose to step into the abundance which is you, and you can choose to take back your freedom, because to me, I believe that freedom is your birthright. That's what I believe. And it's time you set up and you take it back. And if you don't, then you're at the whims and you're at the mercy of the environment around us. And if you have, and I'm going to be careful of not ranting now because we're about to finish off, but if you look at some of the things that the government is really bringing into play, do you think it's going to help you create more freedom? Or is it going to put more control mechanisms on you? What do you think? Yeah, it really is control. You look at some of the things, the taxation laws and stuff that is changing right now. What have they just done in superannuation? They've doubled the taxation rate for people who have balances of $3 million or over, okay? And they've started to tax unrealized capital gains tax. Now, can you ever just breathe that in for a moment? Taxing unrealized capital gains tax. What does that mean? An asset goes up in value, they choose to revalue it, and you pay tax even though you haven't sold it, you don't have the money, and they just revalued it and they decide that you're going to pay some tax because of that. That's about to pass through right now. Now, what they've said is that, but it's fine, it's only going to impact 0.5% of the population. Because the easy target is go after people that have money, that have wealth, because that's the popular thing to be able to do. But what a lot of people don't understand is that it's not indexed to inflation. So what does that mean? That means as your balance grows, inflation is the silent wealth killer. Inflation, we've been in an inflation environment of 5, 6, 7%, meaning that if your money hasn't been growing by at least 6 or 7%, your money's going backwards. Does that make sense? So because they're not indexing this to inflation, as people's balances grow, it's not as if that balance of 3 million goes up to 3.25 or 5. They're going to start to capture bracket creep all the way through. And they're saying that the 20-year-olds now in superannuation, the vast majority of them are going to be stuck in this and paying the double level of taxation, unrealized capital gains tax. And they're sneaking this through literally as we speak right now. And what's going to stop them from then going, well, hey, the $3 million balance worked. Why don't we do the $2 million balance now? Why don't we do $1.5 million? Why don't we just do everybody? Because they're seeding it and they're starting to put it in play right now. And this is what's going to start to roll out. And a whole lot of other things there. I think if you're just relying on superannuation for retirement, I think you're running a really risky game. Does anyone resonate with that? Like, there's a creep going on in your liberties on that, and there's the biggest slush fund, and they want to take their piece. Now, I said I'll be careful. I won't start ranting on that because I can have a tendency to do that. Good. Thanks, mate. A book? Oh, I've been giving a few books out, but the books are, you can buy them over there. Yep. Now, when we start talking about this financial freedom figure, right? As I said, like, the first step is about the needs. Get your time back. So you want to start asking the question, well, how much is it going to cost you? What do you need to be earning from your portfolio just to get your time back? I'm not talking about driving Ferraris, Lamborghinis, or anything like that. I'm just talking about cover basic living expenses so you can get your time back. Because who believes that if you have your time back, you can do more, be more, and create more if you got your time back, rather than just turning up to a place of work being told how much you're worth and what your hour is worth, right? Get your time back, step number one. Step number two is wants. What are the choices you want to have in life, and how much extra income do you need to be able to have so you can have and go and live those choices? What's your dream lifestyle? And what level of portfolio do you need to be able to create in order to be living that dream lifestyle? And then finally, what is the legacy that you want to leave here on the planet? What is the impact you want to have? How is a life well lived and the experience you have? How is that the wisdom that you earn going to be a legacy? What's the intergeneration wealth you want to have? And what's the contribution you want to leave to the planet? And how much is this legacy going to cost? When you can start mapping out these financial freedom figures at all four levels, all of a sudden you have a North Star in the sky. And you have the ability to be able to make some decisions and build a plan and strategy, not towards just blue air and sunshine, but towards a very targeted outcome, right? And that's what we want to start creating. And if anyone wants to get that training, by the way, our booth is just over there, and we're happy to give you some free resources, some cool stuff to be able to go to get that training as well. Now, as I wrap up, and I could keep going for ages. You might have understood I'm quite passionate about this topic, right? As we wrap up, like the thing I really want you guys to get, I really want you to understand is that you have a choice. Building wealth is possible for every single one of you. Financial freedom is possible for every single one of you. But you can't keep playing by the same set of rules and expect different results. Who's heard the definition of madness before? Doing the same thing day after day and expecting a different result? Who's been displaying some types of madness, some signs of madness in their life to date? For years, if not decades. Anyone been doing that? I know I did for a while as well, and we do it in different areas. And so you've got to make the decision that I'm going to start playing the money game of life by a different set of rules. And it is possible, because wealth is a system. All you need to be able to do is go and follow that system. This system that I've been crafting for the last 20 years of my life is this. Now, I'm not going through that now. I'm just not. For obvious reasons, I'll be here for another few hours, right? But I want you to know it's a step-by-step pathway that's laid out for you. You can put one foot in front of the other and step by step walk towards the future which is yours and create that financial freedom so that you can actually live an extraordinary quality of life unlimited by how much money you earn, and then lead and leave your legacy that you're here to have on the planet. Now, for those that feel, what we do as a company is that we run education. We're an education company. We coach and investors how to take control of their personal finances and how to build strategic wealth. One of the things that we want to offer here along the way today is if any of you resonate what I want to say, then you know that it's time for you to take control of your financial life once and for all. We wanted to give you a free gift. We want to offer you a free strategy session with our team, right? There's a QR code on the board there, and all you have to do is do the QR code thing, point a camera at it, it comes up, and you can book a time in with our team. It's absolutely free. It doesn't cost you anything. When you sit down with our team, they're going to help you unpack your situation. A few things they're going to cover. They're going to help you to understand what your financial freedom figure is for you so you can set your North Star in the sky. They're then going to help you pull apart your current situation and try to find out what's working, what's not working, what's the roadblock that will hold you back if you don't move past it, and also what's the greatest opportunity that you haven't tapped into just yet. They're going to give you a 3-step pathway of what you need to do next. It's absolutely free, doesn't cost you anything. It's our absolute gift to you. Now, as I said, if you want to do that, get your cameras out, point at the screen. It'll all kind of come up, and you can book in your time with that. What's this one? Oh, same one. So another book call. Now, as I said, we've got a booth just over there, and we've got some incredible team members there who are there to help you and support you. We've got a lot of free resources over there we would love to give you to. If you want to get started in your investing journey and want some pathways and some guidance to be able to do that, we've got a lot of free resources we'd love to be able to give you. And if you want to get a copy of the book, make sure you come on over and get that. I'm going to head over there in just a few minutes' time as well. So if anyone's got any questions, please come over and join me. Happy to jam on whatever it is with you. 18? E18, is that the sort? E18 is where we are. So I'd love to see you guys over there. Other than that, I want to say a big thank you guys for joining me today, and I really appreciate you all, and good luck out there in the marketplace. Thank you. Oh, actually, if anyone wants to get up a book here, we've actually got some available here, and Tegan will help you out with it